Hi, Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. And today, in part of our winter practice session, let's talk about location and wind. Because we don't all have ideal locations for practicing or casting. Some of us have only small yards, some of us have no access to parks or schoolyards or anything like that. So what can we do even when things are not great? I mean, they had that old expression in life about when life hands you lemons, make lemonade. I'm saying basically the same thing about our casting space. So we're going to look at my yard, which is fairly big, but we have some trees in it. And we're going to take a look at the schoolyard too, and why we would want to go into a completely open space like a schoolyard. So let's have a look.
Okay, here's the side of my yard, and this used to be wide open at one point in time. But of course we put that screen in and this rose bush here, which really gets to be quite useful because I can use that to practice casting underneath vegetation, where you get overhang vegetation on a stream. And the screen actually becomes quite useful when simulating a high bank behind you. So you can imagine it in this situation, I can actually practice casting under that bush while dealing with the high bank behind me. It becomes quite a useful practice session. What I can do is use these trees as obstacles for my back cast, and basically learn to deal with a little bush like this, or that much larger maple. And bushes here, I can practice casting under that bush, which is really low. It doesn't give me a whole lot of room underneath there. So that's really good practice. This tree is getting to be quite big, and this is a real menace to my back cast when I'm trying to cast along the yard. And so I get an opportunity to practice steeple casting using that tree as my background. It can be quite dodgy, but it's a good practice. I'm going to have a bit more open space here. I can do some target practicing here. You can hear the wind in the mic, no doubt. And one of the problems we get here is swirling winds, because the wind comes around from the west. This is pointing west, and you've got that alleyway, and it just swirls around the house. And that's good practice because it gives us a chance to deal with unpredictable winds. So let's go look at my other practice area, the schoolyard. Now the kids are at home doing homeschooling because of the pandemic, so you've got this huge area to work with even during the week. Normally I'm just out here on weekends. Now, some interesting things about this area: it's wide open to the wind, and that is a good thing for practicing. One of the things we tend to do is take the wind out of the game. So I've got a west wind right now which is coming from my back. So if I point myself towards the school in that position right there, and if I'm casting with my right hand, the wind is not a problem. I've taken the wind out of the game. But here's the thing: is practice with the wind. Put the wind in a bad spot. Make your life miserable. Turn around. Keep practicing in different directions. And so you get used to being able to cast no matter what the wind is doing. And in a wide open space like this gives us the chance to do that.
Okay, you can see I've got lots of trees in the yard, and I use those as obstacles and targets. I'll often cast at a tree trunk, for example, or cast under a bush, all that kind of stuff. And the swirling winds can give me problems, which is good, working with the wind. In the schoolyard, I use it for distance casting. I also will sort of go in circles to practice with the wind, that sort of thing. So there's lots of opportunity. If you have the open space, you look at the wind. If you have tight space, look at it for obstacle exercises to learn how to deal with them. There's always some way to turn a space into a casting practice area. It just takes a bit of an imagination sometimes. So give it a try. Cheers.